about our trip to Jacksonville that we took a while back, because I never went over the full breakdown of what that trip costs. So I'm very excited to talk to you guys about that. Let me see if I can change my, to where I take up the whole screen. I just realized that I am not doing that right now. So let me press a few buttons here and see if I can drag this thing on out. Boom and boom. That's looking good. Should we leave the chat? I guess we'll leave the chat down there in the bottom in case you guys want to kind of see what's going on with the chat right there. That looks pretty good. What do y'all think? Does that look good? I think that looks good. And let me pull up the chat right here. Good. Perfect. We are doing fantastic now. Oh, wait a minute. I can do that too. Okay. Well, look, we'll just go with this. Okay. So we went to Jacksonville, and this was back in, 2016, I believe it was. It was a while back. But I never went through, like I said, the cost breakdown of it. So I figured that we would go ahead and do that. I have the envelope right here of all the receipts and whatnot that I've collected while we were on that trip. Hey, Kevin, how's it going? Glad to have you here, all the way from Lakeland, Florida. Woot woot! I know where Lakeland is. And then I also broke down, there was a few other costs that were done with cash that I wrote down on here. But then there are also a lot of free things that we got to do while we were in Jacksonville. So I was like, this would be a great opportunity to show you guys some of the free things that you can do while you're traveling as well. So I think that we're gonna have a very great live stream right here. So, first of all, let's preface this by saying we take road trips. We take lots of road trips. My wife is not a huge fan of flying. She will do it, but she didn't want to do it this time. And plus, Florida's pretty close for us down here in Louisiana, so we usually just go ahead and do the road trip. The Lakeland Celebrates Volunteer with Special Needs video on YouTube just reached 10,100 views. Dude, Kevin, that is awesome. If you guys don't know, Kevin, he was on the news, and his YouTube video is blowing up. So that's super exciting. Then I have a little bit of a more breakdown right here for you guys, as well as kind of like the different categories of everything that it took on this trip. So we were road tripping it, and of course, being that we have small kids, it usually takes us 2 days to get to Florida, because to get all the way over to Jacksonville, I want to say is like it's a good 9, maybe 8-hour drive. I can't remember exactly. So we always stop on the way. This is actually one place where we could have saved some money. So we stayed at, let me make sure this is the first one. Yeah, we stayed at the Quality Inn in Chipley, Florida, which, by the way, if you've never been to Chipley, Florida, if you've never even heard of Chipley, Florida, I'm going to recommend that you guys go and check it out, because Chipley, Florida has a great state park there called Falling Waters State Park. It's actually Florida's largest waterfall, and that's the main reason why I wanted to go there. And then in a nearby town, they also have the Florida Cavern State Park. So if you like to go exploring caves and whatnot, there's a huge area there. There's a swimming area, a place called the Blue Hole. You can jump in the water. It's very cold. Whenever we went, it was super cold. Excuse me. And so we had a great time at both of those places. We did one on the way there and one on the way back, and it was fantastic. So we stayed in Chipley, Florida. We just stayed at a simple Quality Inn, making sure that there's no personal information on this. We stayed at a Quality Inn, and it cost us $76.95 to stay there. Now, this was before we discovered travel hacking. I don't know if you guys know what travel hacking is, but basically, you can get points for travel. In our case, we use our credit cards, and we've been through the Dave Ramsey Total Money Makeover and whatnot, and so we're not a fan of holding a balance on that. In fact, if you're going to do travel hacking, I would let you know that that is a really stupid thing to do, to hold the money on the account, because the interest that you're going to pay on the card is going to offset what you would be saving with travel. So So definitely, if you decide to do this, be financially responsible, pay off the credit card at the end of the month or whatever it is, so that you never have that running balance on there. But I have a few credit cards that I use now. This one right here is a Marriott Bonvoy card. So if you like Marriott hotels, you can do that one. There's this one here to cover up the number on it. This is a business card that I have since I run my own business. And that one actually I just got because they had a sign-up bonus. That's how most of these cards work, is you get a sign-up bonus with them. I got a few others in here as well. May as well show them all to you. We have an IHG card right there if you like Holiday Inns. There's a Hyatt card right here if you like Hyatts. And then there's this just kind of all travel expense type of card right here. It's the Chase Sapphire. So with these cards, they all come with a sign-up bonus. By the way, I'll link up below our website where I kind of talk about more in depth about how we use these cards and do the points and all that type of stuff. But the way it works is you get a sign-up bonus. So you sign up for the credit card, and then whenever you have that credit card, you in 3 months usually is the time frame, you have to spend a certain amount of money. And then they give you this bulk of points. Like with the Marriott one, I think it's if you spend $3,000 in 3 months, which is pretty easy to do if you're just putting like gas, groceries, internet, phone bill, all that type of stuff on your card, then you get this chunk of sign-up bonus, which was 100,000 points. And you might be asking, okay, what does 100,000 points actually get you whenever you're signing up for these bonuses and these cards and all this type of stuff? And the 100,000 points through Marriott. Okay, so there are a few different ways. One way that we do it is we find cheap places to be able to stay in small cities so that the points don't cost that much. So it'll probably cost anywhere from like 8,000 to 10,000 points for one night in a hotel, in a Marriott hotel, which I like Marriott hotels. And so you can stay like 10 nights or something like that on 100,000 points if you're budgeting your points. Now, you can do like Disney World if you want to. You can have all these points that you can use, spend, I think it's like 20,000 per night. But then with Marriott, the 5th night is free with the Marriott Bonvoy card. And so you can have a 5-night stay at like Disney World that doesn't cost you anything for hotel, which is fantastic. So that's something that we didn't know at the time of this Jacksonville trip. And so we could have saved $76.95 right there just on the cost of that one hotel. And on the way back too, we could have saved because we stayed at the same hotel because we wanted to go to that other state park. But that one, since it was on a weekend, cost us $98.95. So those were our hotel costs for coming and going, which all could have been alleviated. That all could have been taken care of by hotel points. That's $175 basically right there that we could have gotten for free if we just would have had the knowledge. That's why I'm trying to start this live stream with that type of information, because hotel cost is kind of one of those things that you just have to pay for unless you do the other travel hack that we did whenever we got to Jacksonville, and that is to, if you have friends and family at the place where you're going, ask them if you can stay in their at their place for a couple of nights or for the whole trip or whatever it is. So we have an aunt and uncle, it's Krista's aunt and uncle, that live in Jacksonville, and they had an extra room that we could put the whole family in. And so we were able to do Jacksonville because we knew someone who lived there at no cost. And so that is a great travel hack. Again, that one's kind of a little bit more, you got to know someone who lives in the area who can kind of help you out. I mean, I guess if you were solo traveling, you could do like couch surfing or something like that, which would be cool. But that's definitely one area where you can really you really don't have to pay for, unless you want to stay at like an Airbnb and you want to have your own space. Obviously you're going to have to pay for that. But if you really wanted to not have to pay for accommodations, I can definitely recommend travel hacking. through credit cards. I can recommend trying to stay with someone who has a place for you to be able to stay. Other than that, finding cheap Airbnbs is a way that you can do that. You're gonna have to pay a little bit more, but what you get for the room is so much greater than what you can get for like a hotel that you actually have to pay for. So definitely recommend that you guys take advantage of those travel hackings with the credit cards, or if you know somebody. Like I said, I'll link it all up below for you guys if y'all want to go and check out our website on kind of the cards that we use and why we use them and all that type of stuff. Now, I want to talk about a couple of the things that we did to and from the destination, like while we were coming from our home in Louisiana to Jacksonville, and that whole driving sequence there, because there's free things you can do, especially if you have kids. Whenever you have kids and you're traveling long distances, they're gonna get like tired and bored, and they're gonna get all this energy saved up because they've just been in the car for so long, and they're gonna need to like release it. And so one thing that we do while we're driving is we'll stop at playgrounds and parks all the way along the way, or find something fun and energetic that they can do to be able to get out and burn some energy. It's also a great chance for you to eat some lunch or have a early dinner or something like that. And so whenever we were driving in Slidell, Louisiana, which is probably about 3 hours, I'd say, from where we are, there's a place called Camp Salmon Nature Park, I believe is what it's called. This place was huge. It had hiking trails, it had a playground, it was totally free. We actually left a donation there, a $5 donation. So that's probably our first expense besides the food that we bought for that particular part of the trip. But that was fantastic. We very much enjoyed just getting out of the car and doing something as a family, going on a hike, learning something, letting the kids run around, all that type of stuff. And then from there, whenever we got to the Florida border, we stopped at the Florida Welcome Center. I don't know if you guys have ever stopped at welcome centers before, but some of them do them really well. And I gotta say, the one off of I-10 in Florida was awesome. So, you know what? I need to make sure real quick. Hopefully you guys can hear me, because I didn't check audio on this before I went live. It says I'm live right here. Let's see if we can hear anything. Stopped at... Yes, okay, we have audio. Good. So, this welcome center had not only like a toy area for the kids to be able to play with. If y'all watched the video, y'all would have seen this because I showed it all. There's a toy area that you can play with. There's all the information that you might need to continue your road trip. Another great thing that we've learned throughout our travels is like stopping at these places and asking the people who work there, like, hey, what's there to do in the area? Or this is our drive that we're going. Hey, Michael, how's it going? This is our drive that we're doing for the rest of this leg of the trip. What's there to do along the way? And I've gotten so much great information at these welcome centers that they really were helpful for us so that we could find fun things to do along the way. Not only that, sometimes there's free stuff that you can get there. Like they had free orange juice there, which was fantastic. The kids enjoyed that. There's like an Instagram booth where you can take some fun selfies with the kids, kind of showcasing Florida and whatnot. They had ice cream vending machines there for like $1 or something. It was $1.25, and we got 2 of them. So we were able to let the kids have a little ice cream on the way. And then there was like a area outside where the kids could like run around and whatnot. You could have a picnic and all that type of stuff. So very much enjoy welcome centers. If you ever get a chance to stop at them, they're always fantastic. They look nice, they feel nice. You can get outside, burn some energy, and the people there are so knowledgeable. You can just tell them, hey, this is the route that we're going, what's along the way? And they're like, oh, stop here, check out this, do this. So it's really, really helpful whenever we do that. So that was fantastic. So whenever we got to Chipley, Florida, which I mentioned, we stayed at that Quality Inn because it was a good price, but we didn't know about travel hacking yet. Wish we would have been able to get that hotel for free looking back, but hindsight's always 20/20. You can learn from it. And so we now, if we were to do that, we would not have had that cost. But we went out to eat at a restaurant while we were there called KC's Restaurant, I believe is what it's called. Unfortunately, from the comments that I received recently on the video, is that place is no longer in existence. I think it burned down or something like that. But I gotta mention that there is a like walking distance across the way from there is this caboose. It's like in a park. And while we were there, the kids, Jacques was at an age where he loved trains. So we'd go and you can climb on the caboose. You can take pictures out there. It's like a very famous photography spot for the locals, apparently. And so we had some fun out there on the caboose doing that with the kids. Then, of course, we always look for hotels with free breakfast. So breakfast was included with the hotel the next day. And so we got that, and then we got to go. Then we woke up and we continued along the way. So at that point, we just had a short drive to make it to Jacksonville, Florida. And we made it to Jacksonville. And like I said, another travel hack for you is that we were staying with my wife's aunt and uncle. And so we didn't have to pay for the place that we were sleeping at, which was fantastic. I love whenever our family and friends come through for us so that we don't have to incur more expenses, because that part of the trip was a good 7 days or something. I mean, 7 days at just $100, maybe even $150 for a hotel. That would have really added up, and we were able to make it work for this great price because of that. So we're very, very thankful for that. I do have gas receipts in here as well. We're going to go over gas in a minute. Let me do some of the food stuff first, because while we were in Jacksonville, we did eat at a few spots. Again, since we had family living in there, they treated us a couple nights as well, which was very, very nice. So thank you, Danny and Sarah, if you guys are watching. Definitely appreciate that. But we ate at a place called Jimmy Hula's. So the first night that we got there, we wanted to go out to the beach. We were like, let's go find some food first, because we'd just gotten in, and let's go to Jimmy Hula's before we go to the beach. And so we went there, and it was me, Krista, and we obviously had to feed our kids as well. And that cost $22.79, and we just got quesadillas for the kids. We got a few tacos, that kind of stuff, and it was really good. First of all, if y'all are in Jacksonville area and you want to check out Jimmy Hula's, we definitely enjoyed that. But like I said, $22.79 for that right there. And then we went out to the beach and we had fun on the beach, and that didn't cost anything. So very easy way to do the day once you arrive in Jacksonville. Hit up the beach, go get some food, and enjoy the day that you have there. Let's see, while we were in Jacksonville, there's a few other places that we ate. Let me see. Oh, we went to V's Pizza. So one of the days while we were there, we went to the Museum of Science and History, otherwise known as the MOSH. And while we were there, we decided to take a break from all the exhibits and whatnot there. And like 5 minutes away was this place called V's Pizza. And they had like authentic Italian pizza there. And they also sold like cannolis and whatnot, which we had as dessert. And that was really good. Let's see, for the pizza, that cost us $22.36. And the cannoli cost us, looks like, it's kind of hard to read. We got back to, so $5.55. So about less than $30, like 28, 29 bucks. We had a nice little lunch there with some awesome, authentic pizza. We got to check. In fact, we met up with some other friends while we were in Jacksonville, because we went to Fort Clinch with them, which is a great state park, by the way, that's nearby. And they were like, oh, you got to go and check out V's Pizza. It's like the good place for the pizza. Shout out to Jones Family Travels, their YouTube channel, who told us about that. And I think Uncle Danny and Aunt Sarah also mentioned V's Pizza as being like, top tier, got to go there. So we definitely checked out that, and that was good. On the way to Jacksonville, there's this place in Live Oak, Florida called the Busy Bee. It's kind of like a Buc-ee's of Florida, but they have like the whole gas station thing, so you can get some gas, which we got gas, but then you can go inside and there's like the cleanest toilets in all the land or whatever. I don't know how exactly they market it, but they have really nice bathrooms there. But they also have fudge there and all kinds of yummy things. So we stopped there and we picked up some road trip snacks, and that was $12.98 for that right there. So a little bit of the road trip snacks. Let's see, before I go into these 3 receipts right here, I also want to mention that we stopped we went to downtown Jacksonville one night, which that video did fairly well on the channel, so a lot of people have told us about the downtown Jacksonville. But there's this place there called the Candy Apple Cafe, and I can't remember if it's still open. There's that, and then there's Sweet Pete's that's like kind of connected with them. One's on the upper floor, I believe, and the other one's on the lower floor. They have an ice cream shop there, which we definitely partook in. That was $9 for some ice cream. And then there was also Sweet Pete's, which I honestly didn't get a good receipt on that. I kind of guesstimated in the video whenever I was going through all the costs of it. But there was a cost in there. I think it was probably $15-20 because the kids just kept putting more and more candy inside the bag. And I was like, okay, that's enough. Please stop. And then we went to the Candy Apple Cafe too. And unfortunately for that place, I couldn't find a receipt, but I went to the menu online and I kind of tried to figure out what we ate based on the video and everything. And you guys have to go back and watch the video because I did that video so long ago. But I want to say it was like somewhere around $40-50 because it was like a nice place that Uncle Danny and Aunt Sarah wanted us to told us about and wanted to go to. So we definitely did those. Oh, by the way, to get to Jacksonville, like if you're on the outskirts and you want to go into the city of Jacksonville, you can take the Sky Tram. There's a whole bunch of different entryways to get into it. But there's like parking for it, and then you take the Sky Tram in, and then you can you walk around the city and whatnot, kind of get off where you want to get off, and then take the Sky Tram back to your car to the parking area. And that whole tram thing is completely free. So you don't have to pay for the public transport there, which was super cool. And then there was also, after we finished our meal and whatnot, we were kind of looking for something to do, you know, walk around town a little bit after we ate and whatnot. We went and got to this place. We went to Friendship Fountain, which is right across the river from Jacksonville Landing, which is a cool place. We went there back in 2008 to listen to some music and kind of just have some fun in that area. That was super cool. But on the other side of the river is Friendship Fountain. So if you like fountains or you want a cool place to take a family photo, that's definitely, in fact, the thumbnail for this video was taken with the fountain right there in the front. You can see the bridge in the back. They light up the bridges at night. Super cool. Just kind of a cool, chill place to be able to do a little bit of Jacksonville. So that was super cool. We also went to the Pier Cantina one night, same night that we went to the fishing pier. But the Pier Cantina, again, I didn't have a hard receipt for that. It's one of the ones that I lost throughout the years. But that was a cool place. We got south of the borders, which was delicious. I believe some kind of fajitas or something like that. Kids got a little meal from the kids' meal. And I want to say that place was like, again, $30 or $40 maybe. It wasn't like a bank breaker or anything like that. But what was nice about that is that it's right along the coast there. And there's all these fishing piers that jut out. So after dinner, we just simply walked onto the beach, went to the fishing pier, which, by the way, the fishing pier costs $4 as like a little entry fee. It's $1 a person to be able to get onto there. So we did that, kind of like an evening activity. We walked up and down the pier all the way down, saw, you know, all the water and the sunset and all that type of stuff. There were people casting their lines out, catching all kind of fish, which was super cool to see. Kids very much enjoyed that. So as another fun like thing you can do, instead of like going and getting dirty in the beach, you can just go up into the fishing pier and kind of people watch and have fun walking up and down the pier. And then there was another night where we went and got some sushi as well. I don't know how much that cost because Uncle Danny and Aunt Sarah wanted to treat us to a night out of that. So that's all the meals that we bought. Other than that, we were kind of paying as we went for some groceries. And so that's what these 3 receipts are right here. We have 3 grocery receipts. One of them was $23.05. And this was just kind of stuff that we were buying along the way. Blueberries, apples, bagel bites, all that type of stuff. There was one night where we stopped to just get some salads and some eggs and that type of stuff, which was just $10.60, a small little one there. And then we bought some, we wanted to take some things to go with us for the outings that we did and for like lunches. And so we had like wheat thins and peanut butters and breads and all that type of stuff. That cost $18.08 right there. So that pretty much covered all of the meals that we had while we were in Jacksonville. So our food budget, just for, you know what, we'll save the complete budgets for at the end, because I wrote those all down on this sheet of paper. I think it's this one right here. So that's hotels, and that is food, which is probably some of the most major expenses whenever we're going places. Let's see, this one right here. Okay, this is some of the fun things that we did while we were in Jacksonville, aside from some of the free things that I've also talked about. But to be able to do the tour of the caves, like I said, whenever we were coming back from Jacksonville, we stopped in a little town called Chipley, Florida. But right outside of there is Marianna, Florida. It's like a 30-minute drive from Chipley. And that place has the Cavern State Park, the Florida Cavern State Park. And you can go and tour one of the caves, and there's also a swimming hole like I talked about earlier. But to do the cave tour, it's $5 for kids, $8 for adults. So that was a $26 expense. We love caves. I hadn't been in a cave in a long time, so we decided to do that with the kids so they could experience caves as well. So that was fun for them. Parking for that state park as well as $5. So that cost a total of $31 for that one state park. I mentioned the Museum of Science and History. It was my wife's a teacher, so we got in at a teacher discount for $8. And then the kids were $6 a piece, so that only cost us $28 total, which was fantastic. Honestly, that's a really good price for a museum for 4 people. So I was very excited about how inexpensive that one was. I mentioned that we went to Fort Clinch with some friends, which is all the way on the Jackson side, a little north of Jacksonville. And there is a vehicle entry fee there of $6 to be able to do the fort. And then to be able to like go into the fort, like there's the grounds outside of the fort that you can kind of explore and have picnics and hike and all that type of stuff. But if you want to go like into the fort, there's an entry fee for that as well. I believe kids are free, and it's like super cheap. It's like $2 for the adults. So that only cost us $40 to be able to do Fort Clinch, which is super cool. And then I mentioned also on the way to Jacksonville, we stopped at Falling Water State Park, which has the Florida's largest waterfall, because what's super cool about this state park is that there's sinkholes all over the place. And this waterfall actually falls into a sinkhole, which was super cool. So to get into that, it was $5 for a whole vehicle of that place. And then we went to Little Talbot Island, which is another state park. We frequent state parks. There, another hack I have for you guys. If you're looking for like outdoor things to do with kids, go hiking, see waterfalls, sinkholes, caves, all that type of stuff. A great way to be able to do those things, those experiences, is through the state park system. And state parks are so dang cheap that it's totally worth it, because this one was only $5 to be able to get into that one right there. Now, while we were at one of the food expenses that I didn't mention, while we were at Little Talbot Island State, I believe it was Little Talbot Islands, one of the state parks that we went to, we were like ridiculously hot after going, I think we were on a hike somewhere. And so we went inside the visitor center, and they had you could get ice cream in there. It was like $1 in ice cream. So it was a $4 ice cream expense that I did not account for with you guys. Let's see, what is the, oh, yes, okay. The one day that we were in Jacksonville, Jacques got sick. So we had a sick day, and we had to pay for some medicine for him. And we had to buy a thermometer because we weren't prepared for that. So that was a $9.78 expense. I stayed home with Jock. I stayed at the place with Jock, and Krista took Amelia with her Uncle Danny to the local children's museum, which, if I'm not mistaken, because I didn't have a receipt for it or anything, Uncle Danny paid for, so I don't know how much. They're usually fairly inexpensive, too, for the children's museum, but that's a great little thing you can do on a rainy day or a day where you need to have a down day because maybe someone's not feeling well or something like that. Definitely recommend the children's museums. It's a great learning experience for the kids, and it's all usually their interior inside, so that you can, if it's rainy or cold or whatever, you can do that type of stuff. So let's talk about gas now, because I have some gas receipts right here that we can go through. So whenever like I said, we take a lot of road trips, and so it's just one of the expenses is gas, right? We like having our car with us. We find that there's lots of benefits to that, not having to do the public transport stuff. Airfare, can be more expensive, and you don't get your vehicle there, so we like to take the car with us, a little adventure mobile. At the time, we were in a Honda Accord. We've upgraded since then, but that Honda Accord got great gas mileage, and back whenever this trip was, gas was definitely not as expensive. So you may be paying a little more. There's actually a website, I don't know the name of it, but I just Google searched it one day, where you can type in your vehicle, put in how many miles you're planning on going, and it'll spit out how much that should cost based on fuel prices for the day. And so I did that on a recent trip, and it actually came out fairly close. I usually round up a good $100 just for in-town driving, sometimes $200 depending on how long the trip is. And so that's a great little way to kind of help you be able to budget what your trip is going to cost, and to be able to figure out how many miles you are going to be driving. You can go to Google Maps. Just type in, I'm going from here to here. You can add in stops if you know your stops, and then it'll show you on the side on the list how many miles you're going to be traveling for that entire trip. And so you can use that to help calculate all of the gas expenditures. So we had one here for $12.60. We at the time we were Sam Club members, and so we stopped and filled up for $10.36. I think that was only a half a tank one right there. We stopped at a Murphy's USA, which is the gas at Walmart's, and that was $22.46. We stopped at the Busy Bee, like I said. They had that awesome truck stop in Live Oak, Florida. Highly recommend it if you're ever going through that area of Florida. That was $15.57. We stopped somewhere in Sanderson, Florida, which I honestly have no clue where that is. That was $28.34. That's probably the most expensive one. Gas was $2.29 there. And then we stopped in Chipley, Florida. We got gas at the Murphy's there as well, the Walmart, which was $19.19. And the last one, $12.94 at a Raceway in Alabama as we were coming through. Let me make sure it's not the same one as that one. So that is all of the gas expenses right there. And the way I look at it, for a family of four to be able to go from point A to point B, the cheapest, other than obviously the cheapest is you could ride a bike, right? But that's a lot harder, it takes a lot more time. The fastest way, but not necessarily the cheapest, would be the airplane, right? You can get on the airplane and go. But we just found for the time that we have and the experiences that we wanted to give our kids, we would just take the family vehicle, and I think you get the best of both worlds. You get a good amount of time to be able to go there, and you get to experience the things that are in between the trip. But you also are doing it in a fairly expedient amount of time, being that the vehicle can go fast and it doesn't cost that much. So the full breakdown of what this thing costs us, we already talked about hotels. We had the two hotels. That was $175.90. which is a cost that we could have avoided. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, we could have travel hacked our way through that if we would have known about it. And so we could have saved $175 right off the top there. The gas that we paid for was only $121.46 for the entire 10 days, which that I think is pretty incredible. And if you think about, like I was saying, getting a family of 4, we didn't have Beckett at the time, to go all the way from Louisiana to Jacksonville for $121. Like, you're not going to find airplane tickets for that cheap, right? Especially flying out of your home state, and you have your vehicle with you at all times, so you can have a little bit more freedom there. I find it just to be worth it for that. Our to-do costs, all of the things that we did to do while we were traveling, was only $83, including that science museum, going to the pier at night, doing all the state parks that we did. I mean, that is super cheap for all of the fun things that we did. Let me make sure that there was nothing else on here. On the way back, we had hotel breakfast. Oh, there was. We stopped at the Alabama Welcome Center, which I'll get to that in just a minute. Another, again, a free thing you can do along the way. Well, you know what? Let me do that now. So while we were there, I just happened to need to go use the bathroom. So I went behind the bushes and whatnot. And another free thing you can do with your kids, if you've never tried this before, it's pretty fun. It's called geocaching. And geocaching, there's an app you download on your phone. And there's all these little treasure boxes hidden around the world. And you just find one that's in your area, and you have to use your map to try to find these little boxes. We've done it quite a few times. And it's fun for the kids because it's like a treasure hunt, and then you open up the box and you can usually take something if you leave something. It's super fun, and we just happened to come across that at the Welcome Center. And inside the Welcome Center, that you could get they offered free tea there, like some cold iced tea. So if you like tea, you can do that. And then they also had some cool artwork and whatnot. It's in this old antebellum place. There's seating outside, so if you want to take time for lunch and all that type of stuff. Definitely recommend the Welcome Centers. Food and groceries and what do you call that? Restaurants. So groceries, those 3 receipts that I had, was only $63.70, which was great. Eating out, I honestly probably don't have the best idea of how much that cost based on these receipts. I went back to the video and watched. Let me see if I can get, let me add up a few things here. So we have the $50 from the receipts. It was $50.60. And then after going back through some of the other food things, we stopped at Sam's and got some. I mentioned that Casey's place that's no longer open. We got a lunch at a Walmart. There is, what is this? Oh, we went to a restaurant with our Aunt Danny and Uncle Sarah. That cost, we think, about $28.42 looking at the menu. I guesstimated the candy to be somewhere around $15. Candy Apple Cafe, I put a little bit more expensive at $43.18 based on the restaurant menu. And then also the Pier Cantina did the same. Oh, and along the way, we stopped at a place called Skins and Bubba's. I think that was in Florida, somewhere along I-10. And that was $24.68. I forgot about that one. So food, which would probably have been all the restaurants that we went to, was probably our biggest expense. That was $240.73. So the more mouths you have to feed, the more it's going to cost. Food's one of those things where it's if you have the room to be able to cook for yourself, that's helpful. You still have to pay for the groceries. You can obviously, if you have an ice chest, you can bring some of your groceries with you from the house. So that's one way that you can kind of tear down on a little bit of expenses. I knew with this trip, since we were staying with friends and family, that we were going to spend a little bit more eating out because it's more of a hassle for them to have to clean up and whatnot while you're staying with them. So there's more dishes and all that type of stuff. And so we knew that we were going to be eating out a little bit more than normal. But I would say that even though we ate out more, that was still a heck of a lot cheaper than the money that we spent on what we would have had to spend on a hotel or an Airbnb or something like that to be able to offset some of those costs by eating in. So that is the Jacksonville trip in a whole. Due to all of the lack of some of the receipts that I didn't have and all that type of stuff. In the video, I said it came out to like $698 and some change. Apparently, I found some extra expenses somewhere in here because I totaled it up again and I got $715.32. So we had a budget of $500, which was going to be a stiff, hard budget to be able to stick to. And we went over budget by $215, but honestly, for the amount of fun that we had, the amount of experiences we had, the amount of time that we got to spend with family and friends, $215 over budget is, I would say, pretty doggone good. And you know what? If we would have, let me do this real quick, 715.32 minus, if we would have been able to travel hack our way through those hotels, we could have knocked off $175.90, which would have put us at $539.42. And if we would, ice cream, in my opinion, is a luxury. If we would have not eaten so much ice cream, let's see, $1.25 there. Oops, I did that wrong. Hold on. Let me do the math again. It was 715.32 minus 175.90 equals minus $1.25 here, $1.25 there, a $4 at the park, a $9 one right there. That would have put us at $523.92. And then I'm sure, if we would have just taken one restaurant and not eaten at a restaurant one night and just decided to eat in, that easily would have saved us additional $23.92. Or if we wouldn't have gotten the candy, definitely didn't need the candy. I budgeted, I had that down at $15.37. Let me minus that, $15.37. $508.55. Where else could we have cut to be able to cut down this cost? I really wanted to leave a donation at that park that we were at because it was so awesome. That's $5. So $503.55 if we would not have left the donation. Where else could we have cut? Let me keep looking through all of our stuff real quick. Hang on. We had to pay for gas. We could have done the hotel travel hack. The to-do. Let me look at our to-do receipts again real quick because I think that is a possibility where we could have saved just a hair bit of money. That's Jacques not feeling. If we would have not went to one state park, those are usually about $5. That could have been, Busy Bee. That's where we could have saved. Because while we were at the Busy Bee, everybody wanted fudge, everybody wanted a snack, everybody wanted some jerky, everybody wanted some candy, and so all that added up to an additional $12.98. So minus $12.98, boom, right there. $490.57. If we would have and then we could have kept our $5 donation for $495.57 right there with the donation, taking out the ice cream and the candies and all that type of sweets. And if we would have traveled, the biggest thing was travel hacking the hotels. So this is possible. That's what I want you guys to understand, is that this is possible if you just think, expand your mind a little bit and figure out, how can I do this on the cheap? How can I go and travel with my kids? I can do travel hacking by getting the points, doing the hotel points, and not having to pay for hotels. If the place where I'm going has friends or family that I can stay with, take advantage of that. Just simply ask them, hey, we're going to be in the area, these days. We're looking for a place to stay. We would love, if you guys have room, we would love to stay with you guys. If not, we can, there's a hotel or an Airbnb nearby that we were thinking about staying at, something like that. And they'll be like, oh no, you guys come on over. Or if they're in the area but they can't host you, maybe y'all can get together for dinner or something. That way, you can have a meal with them, maybe at their house or something like that, to where it doesn't cost as much for the groceries as opposed to going out to eat or something like that. So definitely, it's something that you can do if you just think about it. Don't fly if you don't have to. Go somewhere closer by. Like we said, for us here in Louisiana, Florida's not that far for us. I mean, it only cost $121 in gas, and that's even all the in-town driving that we did. I mean, that is really inexpensive right there. The biggest thing you're going to have, I got to say, is going to be the food and grocery. But if you can cut down on the foods that I mean, if you wanted to, you could ramen noodle it all the way, right? And that would make it like ridiculously cheap. I like to kind of experience some of the restaurants or some of the things that you can't experience in other cities. And so we like to, you know, find a little local restaurant, or, you know, find a fun mom and pop shop that you can have an experience at. I think that that's fun. I think that that's good. And it helps the local businesses. But, I mean, if you needed to cut down, I mean, go and buy some eggs and eat a whole bunch of eggs for breakfast, right? Or lunch. You could eat that for lunch as well. There's ways that you can cut the cost. You just have to think outside of it. But bring the ice chest with you and pull stuff from the house that you can eat. There's street food. Street food in some places is super cheap. You know, you can go get a hot dog or something on the side of the road, costs just a couple of bucks. You could do that as well. So again, you just have to think outside the box whenever it comes to food, because for us at least, especially with the more mouths you have to feed, having kids and whatnot, it's going to cost you a little bit more. And then also like the getting out stuff, you know, things to do. Honestly, for this one, it didn't cost much because we utilized the state parks that are in the area. You know, the biggest expense was probably the museum that we went to, the Museum of Science and History, or that tour that we wanted to do at the cave. But those were like experiences that we wanted our kids to have. We wanted to have a learning experience for them, which was the Science and History Museum, because there's so much to do there. And then also we wanted them to have kind of a more natural experience with the cave and all that type of stuff, and that's why we wanted to take them on the cave tour, and we spent that extra bit of $28 or whatever it was. I mean, those two were the bulk of the to-do stuff that we did. So I just really want to encourage you guys, whether you have kids or not, get out there, go and show yourself, them, your kids, your family. Go and show them the world. Whether it's something in your backyard. That's how we got started. I was a daily vlogger for a long time. And whenever I was daily vlogging, I was literally trying to find stuff to do with my kids in our local town. So we'd go to the parks, we'd go to the cultural centers, we'd go to the little state parks to do, go on hikes, all that type of stuff. And then as we traveled more and more, we just kind of slowly branched out of, first of all, our city. We went through the rest of the state. And then once we did the rest of the state, you know, for a couple of years, we started branching out to the states that were around us. And we would do the fun things too, but also like the state parks that are super, like I think in Arkansas, all of the state parks are free. So if you want to go somewhere, if Arkansas is nearby for you, you could easily drive there, go to the state parks, travel hack your hotels, and bring some food with you. And you could easily do that for super cheap. So I'm really here to encourage you guys to go out, travel with your kids, build those stronger family bonds with them, and just get out there. That's one thing that I did as a kid with my family. We like to go on trips, and I felt like it brought us together. Because whenever you're out traveling, especially with kids, it may not be the easiest thing, but it makes you have to work together as a team and figure things out as a team. And I think that that's good. It's like real life for kids. Just, you know, you have your parents there who are able to help out. So if you guys have the time, have the advantages to be able to travel, go and do it. I highly recommend it. And get out there and go travel somewhere. I plan on doing another one of these live streams talking about, so if y'all have been up to date with our travels, we've been on this 30-day road trip where we went to a whole bunch of national parks out west. This trip costs a little bit more. There's definitely some areas where we could have saved some money, and I want to go through a lot of that with you guys. So those videos are almost all uploaded. Let me get my calendar right here. And we're going to be I already have the live stream set up. We're going to be doing a live stream of the breakdown of that trip on December 4th. It's actually my birthday weekend. My birthday is December 1st. So December 4th, Sunday, December 4th at about 1 p.m., I'm going to go through and we're going to do a whole breakdown of that trip. And that is going to be a huge one. I have so many. We may have to break it up into a couple of live streams. We'll see. So if you guys want to come to that, there is the video is already scheduled up on YouTube. So if you go and set your reminder for that. And I'm also going to broadcast onto Facebook and all the other platforms. But hopefully I'll see you guys at that one. Thank y'all for watching. Go out and go travel somewhere, especially if you have some kids, and give them those amazing experiences. Thank y'all for watching.